Damn, I had to put my parents in timeout this weekend. I hate being a parent to my parents.
Episode 3.
Episode 3.
Sis N Giggles.
So welcome, you guys. Welcome back to Sis N Giggles. I'm your host, Kecia.
And I'm Karen.
And Karen, please tell us today what we're going to be eating.
We're eating some marinated crab claws. I made like a champagne garlic.
Too fancy.
I just did a little splash.
Not Salt Bay, right? Hold on.
Salt Bay.
When we don't use salt, we'll be used Tony saturated or some shit.
I use sea salt too, though.
Okay.
Don't, you know.
All right, cool.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little salt. You just can't overdo it.
Of course. And of course, you guys, if you want this recipe, where can they find it?
They can find this recipe on our Patreon. Make sure you sign up. We do not have all recipes on there, but it will be featuring some of our recipes. We will have more coming for you for all of our recipes, though.
Of course.
Just FYI.
So today we are going to be talking about parenting your parents.
Oh, Jesus.
I feel like as we get older, we see that the roles have shifted, right? Like
Can I drink a little? Is it too early?
No, it's 5 o'clock. Yet again, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So, I don't know. As you get older, you know, the roles have reversed, and you find yourself parenting your parents, having those tough conversations with them, and just watching them. Like, I feel like I have 3 kids now, so I know some things have happened recently with you and your parents. So let's just talk about how the process goes, right? So you are at home, you're growing up, and it's time for you to move on, like empty nest syndrome, going to college. How was that for you leaving? And I mean, you're the baby, I'm the baby, and they had, you know, how was that?
That was really hard. Like, I was the baby, so like the last kid, which we both have an older sister. Both of their names are
Crystal Dion.
Crystal Dion.
Dion.
Spelled the same way.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Very, very strange. But yeah, so it's like when my sister left, they still had me, right? Mm-hmm. But then when I left for college, my mom especially, like, I feel like my daddy missed me, right? But like my mom especially, she did not handle that well. Like, she was calling me all the time. I started calling her Call a Lot Kathy. She called me so much. I used to be like, Mama, I just switched classes.
That's funny. Call a
Lot Kathy. But like at the same time, I get that. I honestly still feel like my mom till this day, like even though I've been out the house for over
10 years.
Yeah, over
10 years
now.
Oh.
I still feel like she has an issue with like empty nest syndrome. Like from the way that like she cooks to like the things that she buys, I have to constantly remind her. I'm like, Mom, it's just you and Daddy in this house. And that's where my recent drama came from. Who child?
That's
the parents was being toddlers.
The parents be parenting.
They was being toddlers.
Oh, okay.
So my parents actually recently moved, and they moved states. And so they have been in their house in Baton Rouge for over 40 years, mind you.
Wow.
And this is their first time, like
40 years of everything, of just accumulating memories that probably fell somewhere. It's like, damn, I ain't seen that in like 20 years. What's happening?
Right. But yeah, that was hard for them, and I legit felt like I was wrangling children, like having to talk them through everything, having to like explain to them like, well, you know, you got all this, where's it gonna go?
Right.
Like just taking time to like break down stuff to them.
So I kind of had the opposite. My sister went to college, and at 17, my mom, I don't know if she was putting on a front or if she was like, I'm ready for you to get out of my house. What are you doing? So at like 17, I will go visit my sister on campus. Me and my sister are very close. We are 2 years apart, but I mean, it's the stereotypical like the big sister is smaller than the little sister, and the big sister is a nice one. The little sister is a mean one. I'm kind of like the mean one.
Are you?
It's to people that don't know me. Like if you don't know me, I kind of have like a still face, but I'm really nice. Like I just look a certain way. Like
Well, I feel like you're nicer than Crystal.
no, I'm not.
Really?
I'm not.
Oh man,
Crystal will give
I love you, Crystal, but I thought Kecia was nicer than you.
No,
'Cause
Crystal.
Crystal just say whatever.
She says whatever, but if you like if we were like in a room and it was just me and Crystal, she looks more approachable.
She's gonna be more social.
Yeah, she's
I
more
do get that,
social.
yeah.
Like I'm not social. Anyway, so when it was time for me to leave, I guess my parents felt a little bit more comfortable because she was like, okay, well, you're leaving home and going with your sister. And my sister had been dating this guy for like 8 years at this point. Like he was my brother. So it was like, I know that you're protected because you have your sister and you have him.
So y'all moved in together.
We all moved in together. It was my sister, me, and her boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
So it was like one big happy family. So I don't necessarily know that my parents had the empty nest syndrome. And one thing about my parents that I said before, they don't intrude. So they kind of just started living their own little life. Now, I will say recently I've been having to parent so much more. I don't know if it's because when I was in college, my dad was still working. My mom was still working. So it kind of was like they had their own lives going on, but as time progressed and my dad retired and my mom would stop doing it as much because she was a hairdresser. So she wasn't really doing hair because she's been doing hair for 30 years and standing up over time like that shit is serious. To all my hairdressers and the people who stand up to do work, I'm a baker, I applaud you because standing up is no joke. Like walking around doing all that, like so it was like when they got older and had to spend more time, that's kind of when the issues was like, I need to parent, I need to step in. Like I remember getting a phone call like, I'm about to kill him and blah blah blah, and like having to mediate because your parents know which child can handle what situations.
Yes.
And my sister, so my sister's a doctor, shout out to the doctors too, she's a doctor. And she was really busy with schoolwork. So she was always gone, or they felt like, she has so much going on. So I was kind of like the mediator. Like, this is what's going on, figuring it out. So first, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel kind of like the same way as you because it was like when I originally left the house and they had like empty nest syndrome which my circumstances were a little bit different because I went to live on a college campus, like in a dorm, which surprisingly I knew all my dorm mates. And so my family had like met their parents and met them and stuff like that. So that was all good, but they were still very like worried. Like my mom's she's a worrier. So she's constantly worried. But I agree with you on like really when the parenting my parents kicked in, I would say it's really been, like you said, when they slowed down since retirement. Like the less they have had on their plates, the more I feel like I have to step in and parent. It's just like almost that they're not entertained enough.
Yeah. It's like they missed the challenge of being a parent.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I do realize that the older you get, your body changes, health issues, and people change. Like you never stop changing. And if you do, I mean, you did. Like, so I do believe that you have to change with your partner. You can't just be like stuck in, I like this is my ways and this is how things are going to go. And I feel like that happens. Yeah. And you would like to think that my parents are, I don't want to say perfect, but my parents are gonna be together forever. They're married, divorced. I don't want it to happen, but as you get older and you realize some problems that's happening in their relationship, they might do better with a divorce because it's like you're constantly having to talk about certain things that shouldn't be an issue. And it's like, do my parents need to be separated? Do they need to really do counseling? Is counseling not working? Have they reached their end of a relationship past? And it's not that I don't love them, but at the same time, you have to take yourself out of these are my parents and more into these are people that have issues. And are their issues bigger than me? Like, how do I look at it and not be objective?
Yeah.
So it's some tough conversations that I had to have with my parents. And it's like, you need to be happy. Like, if you are not happy, then nobody is happy. So you need to be happy, invest in yourself. And I love my dad. I love my parents. But if that person isn't for you at the end of the day, if you're not happy, why are we here?
Why are we here? Yeah.
So.
And I think my parents, I really haven't had to like parent them in that way. Like, kudos to you, because I feel like that's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. Like, you being a like romantic therapist, you know, like their relationship therapist. Mine is more so on like a smaller scale with like they get into it and stuff like that. But I guess it's never, or they've never come to me to be like, oh, they're questioning, like, should they be together or stuff like that. It's more just like, your daddy get on my damn nerves. Right. You know, like, he working my last nerve. Or like, I'm literally like, y'all, like, that's not healthy fighting. You know, like, that's not the way you should argue.
Therapist Karen.
Girl, listen.
We don't get paid enough.
We don't get paid enough. How is there like a word for, like, you know how you have terrible twos for kids? We need like a
sub 40s. Like,
they passed
just like me. I know. My mom just made 60. I don't know, like sensational 60. I don't even know, like
60s.
But I don't want it to be for them, right? Like, at this point, you've achieved so much in your life. Why are we having these same conversations? And you know your parents. Like, I feel like my mom is so hard-headed.
Oof,
she's
baby.
So
the older they get, the more stuck in their ways I feel like they are.
And I hate that.
Me
like,
too.
I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. And it's like, I've had to, the first time that I had a serious conversation with my mom, it took on a lot, or my parents, it took on a lot. It was a big toll, because it's like, what do I do? How do I help them? Like, are they failing? And it just messed with me mentally. Mm-hmm. But after a while, and I'm not saying that, you know, you shouldn't be able to have these conversations with your children, because some things are better left not being told by your parents. And I, like, my mom and my parents know when to draw the line. But some things, like you say, and like, we're adults. Yeah. We are adults, so I should be able to have an adult conversation with you. So over time, I kind of noticed when my mom or my dad was kind of like just picking to get on each other's nerve and like, oh, I'm about to leave this, blah, 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 versus this is really what's going on. So you have to know when to know the difference between they just getting on each other's nerves. Just knowing the difference when your parents just want to talk just to talk. Mm-hmm. And then when they want to really have a deep dive conversation. My mom and dad don't really have that many friends, so them talking to me is not out of the ordinary. So some people may say, well, they need to talk to their friends. They don't really have friends.
So that's another good, I guess, topic or roll off from this is, okay, you're like, oh, they don't need to talk to you. That's kind of a boundary thing, right? Like, mm-hmm. Do y'all have healthy boundaries? Because, like, what is knowing, like, too much? But, like, what other, I guess, like, boundaries, or like, have you struggled with boundary setting with your parents, and what has that looked like?
I have.
At different stages too.
Ooh, so the first stage, like when it was really like, when it first started, there was no boundaries. And I really wanted to be a sounding board, or just kind of like, I wanted to make everything better, right? So there was no boundaries, and I was younger and I didn't have as much going on. Mm-hmm. Now I have boundaries because I'm tired of hearing certain things, like, figure it out. And I have a child and I have different things going on, and I got got too much shit going on to be worried about your problems. Let's just be real. Like, you are my parents and I love y'all. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I got my shit going on. Yeah. So I'm going to be here and talk to you when you need it. But I feel like if we had this conversation last month or if we had this conversation last week, why are we having it again? Because it's not a problem. When is it that you're the problem?
Yeah. Never. You know they never the problem.
Oh, right? My
God. I think for me, I struggle with like setting boundaries with my mom. And I feel like I have my whole life. Because like I said, she's the parent that like, I don't know. It's like she always still wants to treat you like you're her little girl, or like she's so big on being like, you know, I'm your mom, I'm your mom, I'm your mom, which I get, you absolutely are my mom. But like you said, like, just like there's a transition that happens, I feel like when you go from like, this is my parent, to like looking at them as like, no, this is like a person, this is an adult.
Right.
I feel like my mom struggles to make that transition with us, like as her kids. So it's like she still looks at us as her kids, and she still loves to like pull out the mother knows best type of card for everything, right? And it's just like, it's not practical. So it's like when I first left the house, like I said, I had to like just work on boundaries with like how much she wanted to call me and be in touch with me. And then it's like, as I got older, it's like, then I had to work on boundaries. Like, okay, when we're around each other, like certain things are or are not okay. Rather that was like sharing stuff I told her, rather it was her, you know, fixing my hair, wanting to do something with like the way I look. Or like just like, or like you said, boundaries and like what we talk about and like how much you tell me about what's going on with you. And I think like that probably is harder when your parents like don't have other people that they can go to.
Definitely harder.
Because where are the boundaries? Like, I do feel like my mom has, you know, especially for her age, I feel like she has a decent like amount of friends, and her sisters and brothers are all in like Baton Rouge and stuff like that. So she kind of has people to occupy her time and people to like go to. Now I don't know how it's gonna be since they moved.
Oh, she gonna be on your sister.
Hey, I just said I'm gonna pray for
Crystal,
y'all.
Girl. Reach out to us if you need some help. But yeah,
because see, Kathy be thinking she could pop up when she want to, because she your mama. She be thinking she could do whatever she want, like in your space, because she your mama. Ooh. She could do what she want to do with your kids.
Thank you, Trisha and Johnny, for not being that. Okay. Now, I will say that, like, yet again, my parents give me my space.
Yeah.
And I had to learn too, like, when I talked to my mom and dad, and I had to physically tell them, just because I'm telling you, I don't expect you to agree with all of my decisions. Yeah. Like, sometimes I just want to talk to you, to give you a sounding board. I don't need you should do this.
Yeah.
So saying stuff respectfully, but having to understand I'm an adult, and you may not agree with everything that I'm doing, but I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
And I had to, like, when I had my baby, understanding that, you know, everything that my mom did parenting us, I'm not going to do that parenting my child. Like, I respect everything that she did, and I'm still going to reach out and say, hey, how do you do this? What are you going on? But some things that you want me to do, I'm not going to do it. And just because I'm your child doesn't mean I automatically have to do it. But some shit I'm still, mom, what are you doing? And you know what? It took my husband for me to realize that everybody, I feel like, in their family has that person that they go to and talk to. I'm like the person that you talk to. I'm like the person that you, hey, Kecia, we have this going on, plan this. Hey, Kecia, my parents have apartments, so it's like, hey, we need to at least do this. Hey, we need this. Can you do this? Hey, we need this printed out. Can you do this? And he was like, damn, you do a lot. And I was like, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But when it's like, hey, we need this and we need this entitlement, I'm like, I have some stuff going on. Give me a minute, and then I'll do it for you. And I think that some parents feel like, yeah, no, like their priorities are first. When it's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna get to it. And the biggest thing is being respectful, but still getting your point across.
Yeah. Because like the thing too, like my mom has gotten, I'll give it to her, she's gotten better in a lot of ways. And it's like, I know ultimately too, like the stuff she does is out of love, right? It's out of care. But like I said, it's been hard with her to set boundaries because she wants to be like right there, all up in everything, all up in the sauce. I actually will give like shout out to my brother-in-law because he actually helps them a lot with stuff. So since he's come along, I feel like he's actually taken some things off of our plate. But like I don't know, I feel like my parents, they're not really too big on like call, we need you to do this, we need you to do that. They're more of the just like kind of overprotective, like overbearing sort of thing where I have to set boundaries. So I feel like we have different boundary setting that we have to exercise. What type of, I'm curious from the audience, like what type of boundaries do you feel like you have to set with your parents or struggle setting with your parents? Like as it gets older. And like I said, I feel like it's changed. Like in every phase of life, it's changed. Because for me, I think one of my biggest, like, I guess, like, pains right now is to like when they're beefing, not just with like each other, my parents, but like if they have issues with like my sister or something she's doing, like they come to me and they want to like vent to me or tell me how it should be, and I just be like, I don't want to be the person in the middle no more. Like I'm tired.
I'm the person in the middle. And you know why? Because my sister's in Chicago and sometimes she won't even answer the phone. So they have to. And my bakery is in their strip mall, so they just pop up. Like they pop up. I am trapped. They know they come to my house. They can say, "Oh, I'm coming to see my guy," because I have the only grandchild.
Oh yeah,
I'm here. I can't go anywhere. So it's kind of like I have accepted my role. That's and good. I'm like, whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, Mom, I'm sorry if you're listening, but if I've had a day and I don't feel like answering the phone, I'm like, I'm just gonna let it ring.
But I feel like that's healthy boundaries. Okay. And like I've had to talk to my mom about that too. I'm like, there are times where I just don't want to talk. It ain't even personal.
It's not personal.
Like it just might be, I had a long day, I didn't want to talk. I'll call you back tomorrow.
And you know what pisses me off, Ma? If I don't answer the phone and you be like, oh my God, you didn't answer the phone, but then I call you 4 times in a row and you don't, ma'am.
It ain't no issue if they don't answer the phone, but baby,
like, I cut that phone off.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is probably getting off subject, but you know, I feel like I have to track my parents. Like, why haven't you answered the phone? It's been a day. Why haven't you called me? What are you doing? I had to drop the location on my mom's phone because she likes going to the casino and she don't answer the phone. Like, ma'am, I need to know where you are. And I started to put an air tag in a goddamn car because I just feel like she just be like, oh, I'm going to do this. And she doesn't think about, I don't say the consequences, but like people crazy. I just know where you at, what's going on. So this is another form of parenting the parents.
Like you definitely sound like a parent.
Yes, I have an air tag on my child. Okay, I have an air tag on. I'm in her book sack. I have it on her persons at all time. Parents, please air tag your kids. Like, you know, we thought it was crazy when we were talking about chipping kids, but I will get my child chipped if I have to. People are crazy. I watch a lot of murder mysteries and crime shows, stuff like that. Like it, but it's like you're not answering your phone. Where are you?
See, I don't really have issues like that with my parents. Like usually,
girl, mom be turning the phone off.
Girl, no, see, that's not my mama. She be tweaking to talk to somebody. So like, she answers. For the most part, she answers the phone. Like, there are those occurrences where she got a day out with, like, her girlfriends or something.
Oh,
and,
that's
like,
cute.
she missing, right? Because she dealt doing whatever. But, like, she'll call me back.
No.
And then I also know if nobody's heard from her, like, that's, like, quick to be like, okay, what's going on? So I don't really have those issues with her. Like,
I know my mom, either she's by her, she has a big family, but she's by this one particular sister. She's at home.
She turned the phone.
Girl, yeah. And when she turned the phone off, I know where she at. Like, I know where you at. I know where you at, lady. Like, come on. But all that to say, I will not change my parents for the world. I wouldn't trade them. They are amazing. They have helped me so much.
Agreed.
It's just, you realize that you become a parent and you don't even know that you're becoming a parent. Like,
it just hits you one day.
Yeah, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Or like the same way I feel like they used to sit down and like talk us through scenarios.
You have to talk them through scenarios.
You got to talk them through scenarios.
You have to talk, mom.
Like with moving.
Girl, let me tell you.
I was like holding their hands. Look.
Not you throwing the box down and say, put something in the box, please.
Listen, baby, I lost it. Shout out to the parents out there because I lost my that day.
Look,
but
you had big feelings.
No, for real.
You have big feelings. That's what I tell Briley. You have big feelings. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Help me help you.
Yeah. But no, it was a lot of hand holding, and I'm like, so what are you going to do with this? Where are you going to put this? Do you really need all 5 of these shirts that look the exact same? Like, literally walking them through all of these little tiny moments where you're like, do I really have to sit down and walk you through this? But you do. You do because you've turned into the parent.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, even simple things, not even simple, but like, Christmas is usually by my mom's house. Mm-hmm. And now, since, I have a house, I have a family, it's like, oh, well, you're going to do Christmas now. So what's happening? Like, I don't want to be that part of the parenthood. Like, don't go to my house. Too late. No. But like, if my mom says she's going to throw a party, in reality, I'm throwing a party. It's just at her house. Like, what are we doing? How do we do this? How do we figure it out? And back to what you said earlier about how, like, your dad called your mom or you and say your sister did this. My dad do that shit. Okay, Dad, if you're listening, my mama just had a birthday party. Her 60th. It was beautiful, and me and my sister basically we spend too much money on this party, but you want them to have a good time. So we had leftover alcohol, and I was like, my dad ain't gonna drink this. I told him to buy this because this is what I drink. I want that. So he was babysitting with Briley, and before I walked out of the house, I was like, oh, he ain't here. Let me go and steal this alcohol because this $65 bottle of alcohol that I didn't pay $10,000 for this birthday party. You ain't gonna miss it. Look, it was close.
Yeah.
So, girl, he called my sister and was like, you heard what your sister did? You seen your sister told you what she did? She took my alcohol. Sir, stop ratting on me. If she ain't the po-po, what she gonna do?
Right.
Like, but they are... Yeah, my parents be calling me, be playing my sister. So, and another thing is,
they be playing
because my dad and my sister are alike. Mm-hmm. And let me say this. My dad, he is so proud of my sister, right? And I don't, hold that from him. But he'll call my sister because they are like, I guess they kind of, I don't say the same because me and my dad have the same personality, but they agree. Like, if something's wrong, she'll agree with him faster than I would. And then for my mom, I'm more of like you have to push me to get there. So if you're talking to me, I'm like, yeah, well, I'm more, look at it this way. So my mom will call me, and it kind of seems like I agree with her more. So she'll call me and tell me some things, and my daddy will tell my sister some things, and then my sister and me will call, and we have to put the story together and be like, what is, because the one to tell
what really happened.
Yeah, like one to tell you one story, the other one to tell you the other story, and then we're trying to push it together, and then Chris will stop answering the phone, so I'm stuck. Like, what happened? What do I do? Take a time out. You go upstairs and you go downstairs, and eventually, and then they do all this fussing and hooting and hollering. And then 2 days later, I love you at this. And I'm like, oh, so why are what are we doing?
What was all that?
What was all of that about? Because y'all making my nerves bad. You're making my nerves bad. But, yeah, man. Parents, they be parenting. They be something. Yeah. I don't even know what that is.
That's why I said we need a name for... I know we hear the term parenting your parents, but like we need a better name for this. Because like it seems like we all do it, like even though it's in different ways. Because like I said, as you're telling me stuff, I'm like, oh, I don't have to parent in that way, but I have to parent in this other way with them.
Yeah, it's like a different phase of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
Like it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna keep changing.
It's gonna keep changing.
Like they're just gonna be in different stages. Like even my parents, they're 11 years apart. So like even just like them in their lives, they are technically in different stages. Yes, they're both retired, but I'm pretty sure like there's a big difference in your body with 11 years in that age, right? So it's just like I notice things with my dad versus things with my mom, and I'm like, okay, my mom's not there yet, but it don't mean she's not gonna be there in like another 5-6 years.
My parents are a couple of months difference in age, and my dad is more like I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do that. And he never retired. Like he retired from working a plant job, but in reality, like he's always doing. I feel like if my dad stopped moving, he might just die. Cause
that's
like,
how my daddy feels. Like, even though he be chilling, but also he gotta like, rather it's just cutting his grass, rather it's running around his errands. Like he don't like to stop moving.
And you know what? I feel like me having my daughter is a distraction to some of their issues sometimes, because right now my child has been over her grandparents for 2.5 days because it was like, oh, I want to wash her hair, oh, I want to do this, oh, we were outside, cutting grass. So like she rides the lawnmower with Papa, and building those memories. Like I don't ever want to take that from them. But I do think that they use her as a distraction for whatever's going on.
Absolutely, because now they have essentially somebody to fill their empty nest. And
they have,
it's not full time, but they get to go back to doing that same stuff that they did with us and raising us, and even like their second chance to feel like they're doing it better too. Because like that's where my parents moved. They moved closer to the grandkids, so it's like now I know already my sister was like, my mama like, you need me to watch Millie? Like, the first little, like, she's excited to do that. And I do think they use that as like a distraction. Yeah. But I also warned my parents, I'm like, you can't make this your whole life either. Yeah. Like with them relocating, like at that age to such a big move, I'm like, you have to do it for you too. Because even your grandkids gonna grow up and like, they may love to be up under you now, but when they hit those teenage years, like they probably they
want to live their life. Yeah, it's like the process is all over again. And my mom made the comment about like when you're a parent, you have so much going on that you miss those moments. Yeah. But being a grandparent, you can take time out to see how they grow up, and every time like they're together, she's growing so fast. Like I called her this morning, and her and Papa were making pancakes in the kitchen. Like that's his little Kecia. Like I feel like you're raising your daughter all over again. So
he probably does though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's like it's a healthy distraction. So I mean, I'm here for it.
What else we got?
The last thing is just stepping away. Like knowing when you need a break from your parents. Like, yeah. I feel like it's all about balance. Like I'm going to give you what I can give you. And once I've given you everything, not even everything, because you're not going to exhaust me. But yeah, being able to step away from your parents and just realizing that they will figure it out. Yeah. They have been married for 30, 40, 50 years. They're going to figure it out. Yeah.
And I personally, I think I'm struggling with like figuring out when that is right now. Because it's like I also find myself having a lot more empathy for them, like as I get older and like come into just I guess, adult things and adult problems, right? So it's just like, where is that balance between being there and being supportive, but protecting your own peace and having your own boundaries in place? Like, you know, because there are times where I do want them to figure it out, you know, like rather it be an argument they had, rather it be them getting into it with like me or my sister, rather it be like just life stuff. But I'm like, I want to be there for them too. Like, I want to be supportive because I'm like you, like they have done so much for me, especially like the last few years. They've always done a lot for me, but like the last few years I've had to rely on them honestly in like ways that I didn't even expect myself to rely on them.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, I gotta find that balance for me. Like, how do you find that balance?
And I think that over time it will shift, and I think that now, since they're moving, you will find that balance. It's more so now your sister has to figure out how to find that balance. But just prioritizing yourself, understanding what you need from yourself and what you can give to someone else, because even though they're your parents, they're still a person yet again. So if it was a different person or somebody that you worked with that came to you with these problems, how would you handle them? So of course I understand the empathy, because it's like people that you've known these people all your life, so you understand the struggles and you've seen some things. And even though parents try to hide certain things, like, you know what you know, and you know the feeling or the energy of some stuff that happens. So in some ways you can resonate with what's going on.
Yeah.
But like I said, and I'll tell this to anybody, like, you can't help somebody if you are not in a place.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be whole. You can't keep giving people pieces of you and pieces of you, because what do you have for yourself?
I feel like that's something like, again, parenting your parents. I feel like I have to remind my mom of that a lot, like with her, because she's such a giver. I'm going to take care, I'm going to nurture, this and that. But it's like I constantly find myself like, and it's a lesson I feel like I had to learn in adulthood, but like I keep reminding her, like, no, you have to have your own hobbies, you have to have your own interests, you have to be your own person, like, outside of being a mama, outside of being a grandmother, outside of being a wife, like, you have to be like your own person.
Right.
And I think that's something that, like, again, she still struggles with. That's why it's so easy for her to like jump on that bandwagon of, oh, I'm the mama, or I'm your mama this. And I'm like, no, yes, you are my mama, but like, we're two adults at this point. You know what I mean? Like, we are two adults at this point.
Like, you have that parent title, but I'm still my own adult.
Yeah. And so I agree with you on, like, you know, just finding your balance and like setting peace of mind, knowing when to say no, knowing when to step away. Because, like, you know, just because they're your parents doesn't mean that all their problems are automatically yours. Not saying leave them, you know, high and dry, or
help as much as you can. Don't ignore them. But you guys, what do you do for your parents? How do you handle tough situations, conversations? How do you step away? Give me some ideas for parents with hobbies, right? Because I need to give my mama some hobbies. I need to give my daddy some hobbies too. So it's so hard making friends at an adult age. How do your parents make friends past a certain age? How do you make friends past a certain age? How do you make time and do things and prioritize being a parent, even if you're not a parent, but you still have to parent your parents? Like, how is that? So please, we're going to put some questions on our Instagram and TikTok. So go and comment and DM us, and our discussion board on Facebook. We will have a discussion regarding parenting your parents. So I hope you guys enjoyed our session today, right? I feel like I'm in therapy. Karen, do you have anything to add?
I'm good right now. Okay. Therapist Kecia.
Yes, right. So guys, go follow us, go join our discussion board. If y'all have any questions, let us know. If you have any comments,
subscribe, all that.
If y'all have any suggestions on what our next pod should be about, let us know too. We are open. But this was fun. See you guys again next time. Bye. Toodles.